Hey everybody, Sean from Media Assault here, and it's time to resume my Essential Movies series. And I'm reviewing every movie in this book, which is Joe Layden's Guide to the Movies That You Must See, or a guide to essential movies that you must see if you read, write about, or make movies. And I'm in a chapter called Americana, and the movie is All the President's Men. And this is a film that was made in 1976. It stars Robert Redford, Dustin Hoffmann, Jason Robards, Jack Warden, Martin Balsam, and quite an interesting bevy of cameo people that I'll leave that to you watching the film to discover, because it's kind of interesting to see some of the people who turn up in small roles. But this is basically a sort of a docu-drama about the investigation into the Watergate break-in. And I'm almost ashamed to admit that I don't know a whole lot about, or didn't know a whole lot about, what happened, other than Watergate somehow led to the downfall of President Nixon. And in this film, you learn how that came to be. And what transpired is basically that these two pretty low-rung reporters for the Washington Post, Bob Woodward, played by Robert Redford, and Carl Bernstein, played by Dustin Hoffmann, basically started working on the story of the break-in at the Watergate Hotel separately, and they started tying some loose ends together and making some discoveries separately. And then their boss, Bill Bradley, I believe is his name, played by Jason Robards in an excellent performance, kind of puts them together, and they decide to work together. And I don't want to get too much into the details of what they discover, because one of the cool things about this film is the tactics that they use to find out what they end up discovering. How they use their connections, how sometimes things just sort of fall into their lap, and just basically their sheer tenacity at getting the details of this story. And it's 2 hours and 20 minutes. It's one of the most gripping movies that I've ever seen that involve things like flipping through a phone book or making telephone calls and confirming sources. It may sound like it would be incredibly boring, but it's anything but boring. It has you right up to the end, and even though I knew how it was going to end, the devil is in the details, man. This movie just has you from the word go. At the beginning of this film, you're like, okay, this is going to be interesting, and it maintains your interest through the entire film. The movie was directed by Alan J. Pakula. I hope I'm saying that correctly. He's done some other films like Clute and Sophie's Choice. This is the first and only of his films that I've actually seen. I'm now interested to check out some of his other work, because this is a well-directed, well-paced thriller. And like I said, it's informative, but it never gets boring. And it's actually kind of inspiring. And one of the things that I read in the book is that this movie, propelled a lot of people into the career of investigative journalism. And I can see how that would be. Now, one of the things that kept running through my mind as I was watching this film is, man, this would be a hell of a lot easier if they just had the internet. But I think that's one of the things that really makes this story so compelling and interesting, is the fact that they didn't have the things that we sort of take for granted today, and they still were able to glean all of this information by just hard-nosed tactics, just using all sorts of different psychological things on people and getting people to confirm things that they didn't know but they sort of pretended to know. It's just really cool, and it's really involving. I can't recommend it highly enough. I know a lot of these films on this Essential Movies list, obviously they were picked because they're great films, and for me to review it and go, wow, it's a great film, I highly recommend it, doesn't do the movie justice. But this is a film that I should have seen a long time ago. I've never seen it, and it's, 35 years old now, or damn close to it. And it still packs a punch 35 years later, and in the face of things like, they didn't have any cell phones, they didn't have the internet, they didn't have all the things that we take for granted. All of those things are not in the film, and yet it still packs more of a punch than a movie that would be released today trying to talk about the same type of investigative journalism. I mean, it just wouldn't work now, I don't think, if they tried to tell a similar story. Obviously, Watergate didn't happen now, so it would be very difficult to do a Watergate story with cell phones and the internet, but I guess what I'm trying to say is I wonder if the tactics and standards and things that Woodward and Bernstein used in terms of gathering their information are even thought about today. Like, I don't know, it made me really interested in how things have changed from the way that they did the investigation back then to now. So even though it doesn't make me want to be an investigative journalist, it makes me want to know more about how that profession is today. And I can only chalk that up as yet another testament to how powerful this film is. So I don't want to just sit here and say, yeah, it's an essential movie, you have to see it. I want to kind of explain why I think it's an essential movie. I don't know if I'm doing a great job of doing that. And this is, like I said, only the first time I've ever seen it. But very, very good movie. And again, even though I say I don't want to just sit here and say, hey, I highly recommend it. I highly recommend All the President's Men from 1976. It is available on DVD from Warner Home Video. Like I said, it is 2 hours and 20 minutes, and it's a fast 2 hours and 20 minutes. So check it out, and I'll be reviewing the next movie on my Essential Movies list, Smokey and the Bandit. It's probably by the end of the week. So if I don't make another video beforehand, happy Thanksgiving to all my U.S. viewers. I realize I'm now picking up subscribers all over the world. Hello, Mongolia. And I really I don't want to limit myself to just assuming I have a United States audience. So, but to my U.S. people, happy Thanksgiving. And to everybody else in the world, thanks for subscribing. All right. As always, feel free to subscribe if you haven't. Check out the other videos here on Media Assault. And have a good one. Thanks for watching.